Hello, people of YouTube! If you saw my last video, then you know the good news. I am acquiring an Autel Evo Drone. I'm incredibly lucky to be getting it the way that I am getting it. I am getting it from droneworks.com for this review. So the Autel Evo was announced to come out and be released on the 25th of June. So that's coming up really soon. So there's a couple of questions that I asked myself, and I thought I'd just go over some of this here in a video. The big one is the Autel Evo worth buying? I guess that really depends on each individual who's watching this. You know, do you have a drone? Do you not have a drone? Do you want more than one drone? Or is one drone enough for you? Do you like the color orange? Because that's like the only color it comes in. You know, what are you planning on using it for? Is it just a hobby grade drone? Is it a professional grade drone? Do you need a $2,000 drone to get something like crazier, or is like something half that price plenty for you? One thing that I've noticed with the Autel Evo is the dynamic range. Their blacks and their whites, I like to think of it as contrast ratio. One of the things you look for when you go buy that new 4K TV is your contrast ratio. The higher that contrast ratio on that TV, the blacker your blacks, the whiter your whites. With your dynamic range in your camera, it's the same concept. If you start out and your camera has a high dynamic range, then your contrast ratio in the end when you watch it on your screen back, it all works together. And from what I've seen, the Autel Evo has that, and it has an abundance of it, which for the sensor size that comes in this thing is incredibly impressive. I'll know more about this once I finally get mine. Of course, the Autel Evo comes with a 3-axis gimbal. That's pretty standard on most drones. It also comes with 60 frames per second at 4K. That's great for you if you have a giant 4K TV, awesome. If you have a 1080 TV or a 720 TV still, not so awesome. Very rarely do I film in 4K. I almost always film in 1080 with 30 frames per second. That's my standard go-to. The reason that I typically use 1080, well, first of all, the files are huge at 4K. When you're transferring from your drone to your computer, it takes longer to do that. And for me, time is very, very precious. Secondly, when you're editing your video, depending on what machine you have or what computer you have, it can really lag your computer down and make editing that much more difficult to do. Now that's a personal preference, but it is nice to know that the option is there if you want it. It comes with a forward and backwards obstacle avoidance as well as downward facing sensors, which seems to be something that's becoming more standard. One of the things that I'm curious about is that a lot of the advertising with the Autel shows that with their setup, you have this RealSense kind of thing, sort of like the Typhoon H, where it can actually go around things. The Air does too, but I've not had a lot of luck yet getting that to work for me. I'm still experimenting with that. So I'm really interested to compare the Mavic Air with the Autel Evo and see which one actually can avoid things on its own better. It's a little scary doing that, but I am looking forward to comparing that. If you have the bag that I reviewed before, over here, you should be able to use that bag still for this drone, which is great because that's an awesome bag. From what I've seen, it's about 1 inch bigger than the Mavic Pro, just a little bit longer, and it's definitely a little bit higher. The Autel Evo is slightly heavier than the Mavic Pro. I'm not used to doing videos where I just sit here all still like this, so please forgive me if I seem all fidgety with my hands. I don't know what to do with myself. I like to get out and actually be active in my videos, but I am stuck at work, so I wanted to make this video. I am just so excited, and I'm getting one of these babies really soon, so I just had to share a little bit more of what I'm excited about. Let's talk batteries for a second. They claim the battery lasts for 30 minutes. Do you believe that? I'm gonna guess that it's more like 23 to 25 minutes in ideal conditions. As far as distance goes, this thing is claiming that it can go 4.3 miles. I almost never fly even a mile. I like to see my drone. I find I get a better shot if I can actually line it up with my eyes, with my real eyes, and see what I'm doing as well as see what it sees at the same time. Now, for those of you who do like to just go high and go crazy, from what I see, it's supposed to go 4.3 miles. I've seen quite a few people recently posting videos of their Evos, and that shows me that people are getting them already. So although the 25th is the big release date, it looks like some pre-orders are already being filled. So before the Mavic Pro was announced, I was this close to getting rid of my Blade Chroma and getting an X-Star. I had been debating between a Phantom 4 or the X-Star. Now the X-Star only had one IMU chip in it. The Phantom 4 had two. I had a few buddies that had both, and we would go to the parks and I'd have them hover, just sit there and hover right next to each other, and that Phantom 4 would be locked, man, like it was hanging from a string, and the X-Star would just do a little bit of bobbing up and down like so. Not a ton, nothing like my Blade Chroma, but a little bit, where this, it just wouldn't move. Then they announced the Mavic Pro, and it also had two IMU boards in it. One IMU board goes, the other one kicks in, and you have less chance of a flyaway. I've been told by people who know more than I do that those IMU boards play a huge part in that stability. I am hoping that the new Autel Evo has two IMU boards. I'm hoping it has a little less bounce than what the X-Star did. Lastly, to me, something that is incredibly important is Autel's customer support. We need a drone company with a good solid product with good solid customer support, because people crash these things. People have issues with these things. These are electronics. They break, you know, for no reason sometimes. Sometimes they come out of the box not working. What's happening here? I've dealt with Unique's, Horizon Hobbies, as well as DJI's customer support. I've heard lots about Autel's customer support, but I've not directly had to call them. They have a history of having a great customer support, but if this product blows up, their company's going to grow, and it's going to grow fast, and they might not have a customer support base ready to handle that. Years ago, when the Mavic came out, I talked to the head of Carson's Repair Center. I mean, that was the best-selling drone pretty much ever, and that thing blew up, and their customer support was not ready to handle it. That is one of the reasons that their customer support went so bad, or at least that's what his excuse was. If you can believe it, that DJI customer support was actually worse than it is now. Fingers crossed hoping that Autel's customer support is amazing. Not just for me, but for you guys, because I'm getting my Autel through DroneWorks. So if I have any problem with it, I'm gonna send it back to DroneWorks. They can deal with customer support, because I am so over having to deal with these companies' bad customer support. Not saying that Autel's is bad, because I have no idea, but I know DroneWorks is good, so I'm stoked on that. I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't make these kind of videos where I just sit at a table like this and talk very often, and it feels really weird. I even made notes and cheat sheets because it's just not what I normally do. So forgive me if this came off as just a boring, lame video. Stick with me. I will be making more fun stuff very soon. Thanks everybody so much, man. Seriously, thank you. DJI just announced a big event coming July 18th in New York City. They've sent out press passes. Obviously, I'm not a big enough channel to get one. I really wish they would send me one and I could take my camera and go make fun, crazy edits of their stuff. However, I'm not big enough. July 18th in New York City, there's an event titled See the Bigger Picture. Not the big picture, but the bigger picture. The little graphic that they've put out with this, it looks like two things to me. It looks like an eyeball. It's a very, very cool looking little eyeball kind of representation. And it almost looks like one of those little tiny Earth pictures, like a 360 camera took it. Is this event the Mavic Pro 2 we've all been hearing rumors about? Or is this something totally new with some kind of 360 camera on it? I guess we'll know in a month.